I went to an all-boys grammar school when I was younger. Stayed on to the sixth form to study for my A-levels, so I didn't actually leave until I was 18. While I achieved the grades that would have allowed me to go on to university at that time, I took a bit of a leap of faith and applied to join Activision Blizzard in France. I figured you miss 100% of the chances you don't take, so what does it hurt to try? I was an avid gamer, well versed in their kind of Warcraft and Starcraft series when I was growing up. I played Earth and Beyond and EVE Online before World of Warcraft as well, so I had a degree of MMO experience and knowledge as well. So I applied for a GM position within the company, as I figured my knowledge and experience would be best applied there initially. But I had my eye on perhaps a quality assurance role or community support in the long run. I thought to get my foot in the door first, and promotions internally would be easier route to take. The interview process is another story altogether, as it was a bit of an adventure, but needless to say, I was actually offered a job in the end. Blizzard was a fantastic company to work for. They were a massive help in getting my first real international job. The first 4 weeks that you work for the company, they actually put you in you and every other new starter in the company into like a budget hotel together. And it's a chain of hotels that's still going on today, the Ibis Hotel, but we all referred to it by the Abyss by the time we actually left. Normally, the teams were kind of formed of the people starting at the same time, so we all got to know each other really well. And we kind of socialized together at the hotels in the evenings as well as a team. While internet did exist in the hotel back at the start of the century, it was reserved for premium priced rooms, and it was a wide connection only. A lot of the local TV channels were exclusively in French, which most of us weren't actually fluent in yet. The job was an English job, so there was a lot of English speakers. And it was not just those from the UK, but it was also from other parts of Europe as well. So there was a lot of us that weren't really kind of completely fluent in French yet. The bags that everyone had brought along as well were kind of similar to what you bring on holiday, so they were mainly clothes, but there was no real sort of entertainment that could be brought with us. Sure, some of us had bought books to read, and we kind of took turns in swapping them between us. But most evenings we'd end up, we'd pick a room and we'd just socialise. Sometimes playing word games, like something simple like Hangman, for example. But drinks together were kind of common, as was kind of story sharing as to, how we got to where we were and what our plans were each. But kind of by the end of the third week of the 4 weeks, my team had bonded together pretty well, and we kind of reached a critical mass for boredom. So Friday night, we had all gathered up in my room for that particular evening. I was drinking a bottled beer along with everybody else, and was actually just reading a book quietly to myself called Tales of Old Japan. Now, it's an interesting book. It's a series of short stories, one of which tells the story of the Eichel incident, which has become more commonly known in the Western world now as the story of the 47 Ronin. In short, for those of you that aren't aware, it depicts a band of 47 leaderless samurai that go on to avenge the death of their master, despite that such revenge had been prohibited to them under the threat of severe punishment. But telling the story to my team, they took one word from a whole entire story, and that word was ninjas. Now, the combination of drink, boredom, and storytelling led to one of the most epic chain of events in my life. After a quick bit of coordination, everyone disappeared back to their rooms momentarily and then returned back to my room completely dressed in black and one extra item of black clothing. 10 minutes later, my room was filled with 7 people of all shapes and sizes dressed as ninjas, complete with, head shrouds wrapped so you couldn't see even their heads. We left my room in the hotel elevator. I was on the 3rd floor at the time, and we took the lift up to the 7th floor in the hotel. I can't honestly say what we had planned at the time. I think it was just something to do for a laugh. But just visualize for a moment being on holiday in France, staying at a hotel. You leave your room for an evening meal, call the lift, only to have the doors open and you see 7 ninjas just standing there in complete silence, staring at you with their arms crossed. And that's exactly what happened. We got to the 5th floor, the doors opened, and there was a couple just standing there looking at us. And there was a couple of guys closest to the door, and I could just see that they just put their finger at their mouth as if you're kind of shushing someone while pushing the door close button on the lift. The couple that was kind of standing there just had a smile on their face. They said absolutely nothing. I just think they were paralysed in the moment of not knowing entirely how to react. Anyway, we reached the top floor, and once we're there, we're moving down floor by floor from kind of one side of the building to the other, doing our best kind of ninja impressions, jumping and kind of shifting along the walls until we reached the ground floor. At which point we all decidedly run out of the hotel, and there's a local place that we all kind of gathered up for food, so we all decided to meet up there. But it was a good bit of spontaneous fun. We got back to the hotel later on the evening with no issues at all. No alarm was raised, so we kind of left the evening feeling pleased with ourselves. Anyway, Monday morning rolls around, and I get one of the possibly the best emails I've ever seen in my life. It was sent around to all the staff that were new starters, and the subject of the email was "Beware, ninjas." And the main body of the text read, "We had a report from hotel management that there was a series of ninjas spotted at the hotel on Friday. While they caused no damage, and we suspect nothing to be alarmed about, we hope that none of the staff here were involved. If so, you may need to improve your ninja skills. Regards, the senseis."